So everyone, and welcome to this interlude video for Troubleshooter, the White Lion and the Black Witch. I'm going to have to think of a shorter name for this series, I'll work it out. Anyways, this video will not feature any plot progression whatsoever, if you're not familiar with the interlude system, so if that's what you're interested in, feel free to skip the video. This is going to be talking purely about builds, about masteries, our characters, the world around us. There's a lot to cover, admittedly this could be a bit of a long one. But that's how it is. So, first of all, I'm a happy bunny to finally have Bianca and Alyssa in our team. It is all very much good times. I have done a bit of work off screen, looking to not only set out their builds, but everyone else's, and obviously there's a lot to talk about them. First thing I want to make note of before we get into that, though, is something that I was mentioned in the chatting, but it took me a while to realise. If we go to Elisa's profile, of course, from her days back in the Odin district, of course, she's a troubleshooter. She has an official license, which is awesome, because it means that you can indeed make your way over to the activity report, and we can get ourselves a 6th jurisdiction to raise a bit more cash, and this is very, very good. So I have gone back to Magenta Street. It's been a while since I've been here, actually. That is all 4 businesses we have now, which means I'm getting about as heavy a discount from shopping as possible, which has its definite uses. Also, it's an opportunity to start trying to gather some information as well. I feel like this has been changed as well. I think, like, oh yeah, Information Dealer is the one that gives you the information when completing missions. And this now just gives you extra information as you go. I think one was, like, giving you it on activity reports. I can't quite recall. Anyways, so that's good. That makes me very happy. It means I'm getting some serious discounts as well. I've got, like, with Camilla here, who I've been buying tons of stuff from. We are now exalted of her, which is the absolute maximum. So it means we're getting 30% of the business, and we're getting 33% from her. I get stuff from her at 1/3 of the cost. It's pretty good. So yeah. Anyways, talking about builds here. And again, there's been plenty of work here. But also, I have been sampling a bit of the music. We'll have a little sample of some of the music to come in this DLC. It's just... This is one of the big criticisms. I want to say big criticism, but the things I definitely missed in the main game. The music I had was good. There wasn't enough of it. They've addressed that. Alright then, so let us begin our dive into the roster. We will start with both Bianca and Lisa before talking about the rest of the team. We've undergone some change. Obviously, this is the big thing to talk about. So let's start off with Ms. LeBlanc. There's something about just little, this little pose here. just gets you in the right place, so it's really entertaining. So, she's on level 39. She is not leveled up beyond this, so she's got a bit of experience off screen, it should be noted. Which is a bit annoying. Obviously, a lot of our equipment is like 40 and beyond, so it means I've had to kind of like make some equipment for her just for the time being, which is not a bad thing. I've even given her one of John's old bangles. It is for flame stuff and ice stuff, which of course she is neither of, but it gives her some speed and vigor, which is all very much good for her. Especially the vigor. Oh yeah, 325. It's pretty damn significant. So, let's talk about Bianca then. So she does start off initially as a, wrong screen, I'll get to this in a second, as a black mage coming from Elementalist. But she can also become a witch, which is kind of like more like it's almost like a red mage sort of style. We of course had this with Anne, where you can supplement some more aggressive stuff into like the healing. Bianca's a little bit different from what I can gather. It's kind of it's still the same sort of idea, but it's kind of like more supporting of herself, as well as some kind of tricky debuffs to the opponents. Also, it does have Bianca's own ability, personal ability is down this list, so we will need to get this at some point. But we're going to be starting her off as a black mage, because it seems pretty straightforward. It's what it starts off with, which is pretty damn good. Build-wise is actually pretty straightforward for her. She doesn't have a lot of health, but now that we've got the new DLC, there are a variety of new masteries that are in the game, including some that are for class specifically. Which means if you go to like the mastery set board, notice that it's up to 12 now, and there are several extra ones, especially around like this area. And coming down here as well, there are several new Elementalist sets as well. Lots of really cool stuff actually as well. We're going to talk about some of them. So, Bianca, I've basically built her as she doesn't have a ton of health, but she's got an absolute bucket ton of defense, which can make it a lot more resilient in combat, because I am worried of agility, especially if the time beats. Kind of why I've given her insight for now, just to help her catch up with levels. She is a bit behind, so we'll have to address that. Now, one thing I've done with a lot of the character builds is I have made sure to put on the Secret of Enlightenment, which is really, really good. Gets you a load of basic slots, which is just good for general stats, and giving plus for each group. The problem with Bianca is she's only got 4 defense slots, and that's including Strategic Retreat. She only has 3. Now, the problem is I'd have to get rid of one of these. The problem is both of these sets that she's got on here are really useful. She starts off, I think, with Second Wind, but she's got it on here, which is reducing the damage that she's taking from melee damage, throw damage, shooting damage, all that sort of stuff is heavily reduced. If she gets a low health, she auto-procs regeneration or just healing on the spot, which is pretty good. But another set that she can get hold of is, and we now get hold of, is Magic Shielding, which is a brand new ability here. So the way this works, the damage dealt to you is bigger than her maximum vigor, which is like 300 something. It gets reduced by 50% at the cost of 20 vigor, which is pretty good. It's not quite Impulse Fields, but it means that she can like take some really hefty blows and manage to survive. Now, you can improve that further with Mage, improving magic, and I think for the first set I've ever seen, Distortion Field is finally being used. And of course, this is really powerful in itself to improve it. So it only requires 10 vigor instead of 20, and reduces the damage increased by 20% instead of Distortion. So she has got bucket tons of defense here. If you see here, like, although armor and resistances are not very high, and that is definitely a thing, like, she is really reducing the damage she's taking, so dealing a lot of small numbers. Very, very cool. As the other abilities got, yeah, so improving magic, just reduce cast lays fine. There's some bits and pieces of what she's got here in the Black Magic set as well. Specifically, Spring of Magic. Maximum magic increases by 5 per 1 currently applied ESP Mastery. Now, you might be wondering, obviously, we've had the previous thing before of, like, having, I think it's Magic... no, that one. Which one is it? There's one of these where, like, is it Sage? Which one is these? There is a ability where, like, your power goes up by your max vigor, and it gets thrown onto it. And I forget which one that is. It is Mage, yeah. 325 coming straight from vigor, which is pretty damn good, you know? It's not bad for that. But she has an interesting ability as well, which we just came across, which is Magic Optimization. So damage dealt with ESP attacks increases by 1% for every vigor recovery. Now, this is very notable for Bianca, which means she can kind of snowball a little bit here, which is very, very cool. She starts off with a base of 14 recovery, which she's not really going to require. Magic Circulation, Utility Magic is another thing, as I accidentally knee the table. But there's a ways for her to improve that as well, Magic Circulation specifically. So there's something else called Releasing Magic, which is this over here. Every time she uses the ESP ability, she gets a buff that gives her vigor recovery +3, and this stacks up to 10 times. This is doubling that effect, and of course this is playing into Magic Optimization. Yeah, she can very quickly, really, really heavily improve her attack power, which is awesome. Her percentage isn't the best. She does tons of crit damage, as a lot of wind people do. Unfortunately, her crit chance is not the best, but still... yeah, there is absolutely gobs of power available for Bianca. She's fragile, though. She's got to be a bit careful of that. I've not yet really gotten around to sorting out a witch board for her. We will delve in that at some point, but Black Mage will be for her first. Anything else to make a mention of? There are a couple of things as well. Magic Stamping here. I don't know really what that does. It's a thing. Oh, that is what it does. It's a thing she can put on herself. ESP abilities require no action points. Yeah. It's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty good. There's a lot of nice stuff here. Cool-headed as well. No cast delay for all magic abilities. It's completely ridiculous here. Origin of Magic. 4% increase for every applied ESP mastery, which she has plenty. She just needs levels, and she just needs extra slots as well, which I can work out. But yeah, really brutal with the defense. She is stuck at 3 permanently. So if I do want to put on that specific set, I will have to sack one of these off. But I don't really know which one to deal with. Like, they're both really good. Maybe the Magic Shield I take off. This is another new thing as well. If don't, yeah. Which not only she's got, I've also given that to Albus because he's also Wind Elemental. So they are showing quite a few abilities actually. Pretty cool. That's pretty much all to say for her. Abilities-wise, we haven't got too many here. She can actually get on a second ability here soon, the Wind Explosion, but obviously, got wind. She's got stuff to work with. Right. My dear. So, there's a lot going with Elisa. There's a hell of a lot going on with Elisa here. Let's look at her class first. So she starts off as a fully done White Knight, straight max mastery. She gets all this cool stuff here. We have gotten hold of 1 or 2 White Knight abilities throughout the course of the game. And they've been added to add on here. She was originally a warrior class, which we've seen for some. There's a lot of good actual masteries to the warrior set, which make use of here. Her alternative is Barbarian Warriors, which is just basically pure Berserker style. Which also makes use of some Marauder abilities. We have a few of those lying about as well, but for the time being, I want Elisa just to focus on the White Knight stuff, and just rock and roll there. She needs to gain some few levels as well, but White Knight is really, really good. Basically, super heavy defense, counter hitting, plenty of health. It's basically a tank class, and she is very, very good at it. There's a lot of ability stuff here going as well, but let's look at the mastery board first off. And this is a busy, busy place. So where do we start here? She has Secret Enlightenment, which again, made sure to put that on. Oh, one thing should be noted actually, there is actually an alternative to Secret Enlightenment, which I discovered. And that is this here, Egoist, which is the same style as this. Instead of increasing all basic slots, what this does is this increases support slots, but it requires 2 defense slots to do it, because the +3 training points comes from the defense hit, whereas here, Honesty is making the boost there. So it's a little bit trickier to make work, in my honest opinion. I also don't think supports are generally as good for a lot of the characters as just getting basic stuff on. This gets you access to all sorts of common sets. Lots of class sets require common abilities as well. Not that one, but you get my meaning basically. But yeah, just getting your stats up can't be a bad thing. So she has got all manner of sets here. Common, she's got some warrior sets, some really good stuff, a bit of swordmaster. She's also got a bodybuilder, which you had on before someone. So it just basically just makes a complete and utter tank, which is definitely the idea. Right. Masteries. Let's go through them, because we're not really familiar with a lot of them. There is lots. Let's go for just generally speaking. I've got all but one on here. Elisa's big problem was that she was suffering a lot from speed, and we noticed that from the initial mission, and a couple of them we've done. Obviously, being a huge tank class, speed's a problem, and speed is something I do value pretty heavily in this game. I have managed to largely rectify it. She's up to 81 speed here. And that's mostly thanks to a particular mastery that she's got here, which is the Marching Expert. So for every 200 health, she gets +1 speed. And she also gets +1 move distance. It's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. Unfortunately, as you can see here, she only has 3 support slots total, 1 getting eaten up by Honesty. So this is a huge problem. I tried putting on Egoist on Elisa, but she also needs loads of basic slots, so it's a little tricky for her. Maybe I might be able to do some more, but really, this is committed, and this is probably also committed to as well, but it is what it is. Let's go through the actual White Knight abilities first. There's loads of them. Combat Stance. This is really good for Elisa. So it costs 3. But it allows you to choose a stance for her to be in battle. So the idea is she's either an attack stance, which makes it hit a bit better, or she can take a defensive stance, so it increases her block and reduces the damage taken. You can flick this as many times as you want. It costs like 10 vigor to do, which is not a whole lot here. But it's just a nice little ancillary. Even if you just keep her on attack stance for most of the time, that's still +10 hit chance and +5% damage. I mean, yeah, you can't particularly knock that. Very, very solid. Minimum weapon exit, she was also had on, so extra damage, cast delay, all that lovely good stuff. But yeah, with the Marching Expert, she also has the Marching Master, which is giving it another 10 speed and another move distance. So she is well covered for movability, which is pretty nice. Also, extra abilities she's also got as well here. We've got Bone Breaking to give armor breaking, Provoking Strike, which means she can actually taunt enemies to make them weaker, which is kind of fun, and I can see some builds that could be entertaining. Weapon Break for destroying weapons. Neutralize counters she starts off with, but I've actually got that off for the moment. This is almost certainly going on when she hits level 48. I can't really justify not having it. It's such a good ability. You know, you think to the likes of like Turk and a couple others that use that against, like Irene especially. It's been really, really nasty. Expected Risk is also a pretty good ability, however. All responsive attacks get blocked. Every single one of them. This just neutralizes counters. This blocks everything that isn't a main attack. That's very strong. There is a lot of cool White Knight stuff. For the time being, I've just got on a load of more common style defense stuff, but I might tweak this as we go. One of the other abilities she's got as well, which I really want to get hold of, but I've been unable to, is this, the Veteran Duelist. So for everyone currently used Warrior or White Knight Mastery, your hit chance, crit chance, dodge chance, and block chance goes up by 0.5%. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You're doing the maths. The problem with this, however, is I can't make it. I need this Weaponry Expert. I have no earthly idea how to get this. Haven't got a clue. I'm guessing this is going to turn up over the course of the game. But like this, 15% attack power from items, which is, you know, her freaking sword and anything else you give to her. That's very juicy, but I don't know how to get it. So until I do, I can't make this. It's very annoying as well. She's got lots of mastery sets, which I think require that. This is very annoying. There's quite a few sets here that I've gotten full, but there's lots of these. Mastery you can research. Mastery you can research. Research. So I think Veteran Duelist is part of loads of sets, which I think is a deliberate point. I'm guessing Weapon Expert I can get later on, and then get hold of Veteran Duelist. And this is a way of, like, not... Although she's max White Knight, she's not max White Knight, and she'll be able to get hold of that ability a little bit later on, which I think makes a degree of sense, and I'm okay with that. Anyway, so that's the general idea here. As far as the other sets she's got, let's go into the warrior stuff here. So yeah, I've got everything on except Swift Attack, because I don't really need this. It's just not, I think it's okay, but not that great. Take it on enemies. The speed lower gives a 10 time back. I don't think she needs it. So yeah, lots of good stuff she's got. Clash. Damage dealt to attack power, lowering you is increased by 20%, which is pretty good for just, obviously, stomping dudes. Comes in a Herculean Strength, which is giving me 3 attack power plus for every level on top of Muscle Change, giving me 5. So that's now 8. And Clash is now 30%, which is pretty good. It's a nice little ability. Also running with Tough Warrior, which is, you know, just a pretty solid generalized buff. What else we got here as well? Spirit of Warrior. This is another basic one here. So, Elisa has a very interesting way of playing her, in that what you want to do with Elisa is you want to buff her, because she's got abilities that will improve her depending on if she's buffed. So, yeah, for every Excitement type buff she's got on her, speed increases by 10. And for every Rage buff, she does 10% damage. It's really, really good, because you can also play into that herself with stuff like Encourage. We've seen this on a couple of the Spoonists that have had this, which just gives attack power 100 to everyone around her, but of course that counts for it. It's an Excitement type buff, so really, really damn nice. And we've improved that further as well with this mastery set here. So normally it would take the entire action, now it's just one ability. So in theory, I could get her to encourage herself and then just go to war, which is very much the plan. Got things she got as well, Sweet Home Battlefield. Putting enemies out of action. She recovers 10 Vigor as she goes, which is good, because a lot of her attacks are pretty expensive on the Vigor front. So getting her to restore her Vigor is definitely going to be very, very useful. Tenacity, which just gives her extra block when she gets to low health. This is good against enemies that, like, they don't hit you in one big hit, but hit you in lots of little hits. Think of, like, the old remodeled Vicrons, that kind of style. And yeah, Tough Warrior we've done as well. So lots of good stats here. Indomitable Warrior is just giving more bonuses. Marching Master with clean strength. Season More I wouldn't mind, but this is running with the Swift Attack. It's not a big deal. I'm not too worried about that. Taking enemies that attack by lowering you, she's just going to murder, so I don't think it's too much of a big deal. But all in all, Lisa's got some good stuff. Perfect Pose as well to help her with counter-attacking, Forestallment, that sort of thing. Definitely a lot of work I want to do on this class, but this is going to do for now. We've got to pick up a couple of slots, and we'll get there soon. I haven't gone into the Barbarian class too much yet. I had a little poke my head around with some of the Barbarian stuff, and there's some cool stuff to be had there. This is much more of kind of like a defensive sort of style class. Berserker is basically put her on Berserk and just send her in and let her crush everyone and everything that she sees. And I'm sure I'll very much enjoy that. But I want to go through this and just get some levels of the service before I start delving into that. As far as the weaponry is concerned as well, she also has her own type of weapon, of course, the two-handed swords. The battle cut she starts off with is actually not bad. Notably, however, because I went and made one or two, normally she has a speed penalties of -10, which makes sense. These are big freaking things. The battle cutter does not have to worry about that. And I have made this one here, but it has got a pretty hefty hit chance loss. I don't think I'm going to put this on. She's also pretty good for move distance, but to give you an idea of that sort of thing. So it's its own set, and I'm sure we'll go ahead and make some of that stuff as well. She uses uniforms, which almost no one else does, which is kind of nice. She can use wrist guards. She can also use rings, interestingly, which is funky, but I guess it's a thing. You'd almost always want her on wrist guards, being honest. She cannot use bracelets. That'd be a bit ridiculous. And boots as well. I got hold of more boots from Jeff, so she's running with those. So she's also immune to field effects, which I think if she's charging in a lot and she's taking a lot of hits, there's a lot of dudes that will throw like status effects and stuff at her. This should help deal with that a little bit. And these are also making a big difference dealing with like move distance. Bit of vigor recovery as well for her. Can't be too bad a thing. So very much looking forward to the journey with her. We'll have to see how we go. But yeah, here's the encourage. That's the starts changing there. She starts at battle cry as well, which is pretty good. Go into the abilities. Yeah, lots of stuff there. She does have a second finisher as well. Instead of the perfect chain, which is basically just one big massive swing in front of her and knocks back like insanely. She's got the double cross slash, which is basically the cross slash normal. Also, one last thing. If you're wondering why lots of this is got about shaving, well, I've always wondered, and as I did highlight, the battle guide tells you why. It was used in her days in the Special Forces, and it was called the Shaving Razor Blade by the team members because it's so fucking absurd. But that's why I love you, my dear, because it's so fucking absurd. So with most of that work done, let's talk about the rest of the characters in pretty quick detail. Albus has seen a few changes, and this is, again, largely courtesy to Bianca, bringing a lot of interesting masteries. So there's been a couple of tweaks here. Of course, it has an absolute crazy amount of basic stuff here. Charisma has been really useful for him. Lots and lots of good stuff. So, things that have changed to him. He also has the improved magic shield. That was given by that. Made sense. He's already got distortion field. A magic shield is just pretty useful. Albus has got enough vigor to make use of it. He's got some vigor recovery, not an absolute bucket ton, but he's got enough that he can take some hits and use that to improve himself, which should be good. The other big change that has happened for him specifically is he has on him the Blessing of Avalon, which also uses the magic shield stuff. So this Holy Sword, which makes him better against criminals, Avalon for vigor reduction and vigor recovery, and the distortion field. So I already had this on, it kind of paired into it. So Blessing of Avalon, every time magic shield gets activated, he also gets release magic. So magic shield costs vigor to protect him, but it gives him release magic so he can recoup that, which is pretty damn awesome. Also, the second bit is very important. He can ignore fatal damage. It costs all his vigor to do so, but yeah. If you suffer fatal damage that makes you out of action, you can spend all remaining vigor to ignore it. Now, notably, that could be any amount. That could be 100. That could be, I assume, 6. So that is very, very strong. But what it means is that like he can basically avoid a fatal damage hit once per round. Then he can go back, get some more vigor, and then he can take another hit. But obviously, by that point, you probably want to get the hell away from that. But that is very, very strong indeed. A couple of things that are changing-wise as well. There's maybe 1 or 2 more extra things for him to do. Blessed Avalon is definitely there. There might be another 1 or 2 here that are going to be new with other stuff that's going to get unlocked, but I don't particularly know. We don't have all of the most white Magic Knight abilities in the game, unfortunately. We require a few things we just simply don't possess, but I imagine there is some pretty cool stuff. The stuff that's here, you know, Infinity Sword, giving the Curse Sword stuff is pretty cool. Blessing Avalon's really strong. Just a Victory Blade as well, giving loads of vigor and SP back, so he should be in pretty decent state. And I think Albus will be... He's improved for Bianca's join into the team. Scion has not changed a ton. He's used a little bit, or he's like delving slightly into some of the black magic stuff that Bianca will bring, especially as she starts unlocking more abilities, will probably do so. But for the time being, I think he's pretty much fine. Nothing too much changing. There's a couple of things. He's got like Investigate Origin for the origin of magic, which I think is one of Bianca's abilities. I think, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, he'll see a lot more change going on specifically. Something that has changed a lot, however, is the next person. So, you need a potion. I don't know why you haven't got that. So, I was looking to make a bit of a change up with some of our party. Also, that's a fantastic camera angle, by the way, there. And it noted to me that there was a class that I had barely used in this game, because I kind of thrown people down. And that is mainly Irene. She's been a martial artist for a long time, and Simon's obviously a black mage. Both can be battle mages, which is like a hybrid magic and physical user. We kind of touched upon battle mage early in the original series, and then I like basically went away from it and just never went back because I didn't really have the resources at the time, and then I kind of largely forgot about it. Well, I'm satisfied with Letton's time spent as a superstar. So I put him back as a martial artist, which means that we've got 2 martial artists. And I kind of want to keep things changed up. And I was thinking, I mean, Irene does have magic potential. So I went and made her battle mage. Which is really weird. Like, her build was so damn good. I didn't have to do this. But I have gone and sent her down the battle mage variant. So there has been a bit of change here, to put things mildly. I don't know if the battle mage is better than the martial artist, but what she is an absolute tank. Think a bit like Carter. Carter is also a battle mage, effectively, and we've definitely got some of his abilities that have come across as well. There's lots and lots of cool stuff. So, some things remained. Final Flame, Hero Irene, Repetitive Training, this is all staying on. Secret Enlightenment, of course, as well. But we do have a couple of battle mage things. I haven't really shown this off much, so we'll quickly delve into it. So, things that are a lot simpler. So you've got like Core Magic Reactor, just gives extra vigor and vigor recovery, which is good for her. Quite a few of her abilities require a constant supply of vigor recovery, specifically magic armor. You can activate and deactivate this. It basically, she can't use cover, but it doesn't matter. She basically is a full cover landmark. And she gets here plus 200 resistance, and she gets 100% block. She just blocks everything that comes near her, but it takes 10 vigor every turn. So you've got to be careful of that. So this combined with Ironheart, which I'll get to in a second. There's Magic Reactor and the Magic Field. So incoming damage ESPs is less than her current ESP power, which is like 600-700. We take half the damage, and all this. You get Moving Castle. So while she's got magic armor, she gives Moving Castle to herself and everyone else around her. Plus 100 armor, plus 100% resistance, which is not bad for her. But the main thing is Moving Castle reduces damage taken by 25%. That is very significant. That's better than Anne's Celestial Shield. It's very good. The other stuff you got as well is the Magic Acceleration Circuits. This is the Magic Reactor. Both of these need this. Magic Duplication. So, which goes into this here. Yeah. At the start of your turn, on a Concentrate Magic Power, this is a thing that is going to... let's go into this. Magic Exhaust. Let's start here. So, Concentrate Magic Power is a thing that Battle Mages can gather as they go. We saw this with Carter as well. So, whenever you get a critical strike, and there's a couple of things that do it as well, moving buffs and such, you gain magic power. And it buffs her recovery by 1, vigor recovery by 1, and ESP recovery by 20. You can go up to 25 stacks of it, which is really, really strong. There are a few ways to use this, specifically. This doubles that. Supporting Magic Circuit as well. This is for abilities that have a mix of attack power and ESP. Basically, it means that... let me give you an example here. So if I go to, say... I'm kind of darting about here, I do apologize. So let's go to, like, say, red... yeah. You notice how all these attack powers and ESP powers are all the same? They didn't used to be. Flame Explosion used to be, I think, 175% attack power, and I think 25% or 50% ESP power. These are now normalized. And if they were already the same, they all get plus 20%. It's pretty good. Anyways, yeah, so the magic stuff there, basically build it up. And the idea is that when she uses a magic ability... that this then gets all used up, basically, and you start again. Irina hasn't got any of those currently. The only one I think that counts for her specifically, I think, is Somersault and maybe Sheer Drop. I think. But I don't know. Oh, it says, yeah, so that's a shooting, so that's definitely magic, that's melee. I think it's the only one. So if I don't have it on, she just keeps building it up, and it just maxes, and she just has loads of ESP power, which is boosting her own attack. So she also snowballs a bit as well. Very, very good. But it also has other uses as well. There is a ability in the game, it's a fire ability, which I haven't got on her currently, because I just don't really have the spots, and that is the Flames of Regeneration, which Carter has. You recover your HP by 20% of damage dealt by a fire attack ability to fire type debuffs enemies. So this is something you can definitely set into, and Carter uses this very effectively. You burn them, you hit them with a fire attack, and you gain it back. It's really, really strong. And this can also, again, play into magic absorption. Of course, that's proving your power, so you hit harder, you get more health back. And it all kind of flows along itself. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to sit around this very much. We'll see how things go. I think it'll be alright. The only other thing I've got on her as well is, yeah, Ironheart here, which I've shown a couple times. This is really strong. If coming damage is less than 30% of your max HP, you take a further damage. She's got not as much as she used to, 2600, which is still a fair amount. So about anything that's 700-800, she basically doesn't really take any damage. It's pretty good. And of course, adding in to stuff like if magic field's on, magic armor's on specifically, stuff like that. What Irene is designed to be is she can still solo and still do very effectively, but she doesn't hit, I don't think, quite as hard straight away. She's a little more snowbally, but what she can be, assuming she doesn't get crit crazily, is just, she can just take tons of punishment. The only thing that I've had to sacrifice Irene, which is something that there's a few things I've had to sacrifice for Irene to do this though, and I don't know how this is going to work currently. She can't counter. There's no counter-attack. I don't have any spaces. There's no Forestallment. I don't have any spaces. There's no Veteran. I don't have any spaces. I don't know if this is going to make her better or worse. I really don't know. I have basically sort of kept her villain board. I basically ripped everything I was going to take off of it because I was running out of stuff here as well. And this is going to run for both stuff. We will be doing some B stuff probably, but Bad Mage is going to run overall in general. And I might go back to her as martial artist if it doesn't really work out too well, and that's not a problem. I have saved a picture of what her setup was with martial artist, so if I decide to go back to it, I can put it straight back. I've got enough manuals. I never need to worry about that. So we're going to give her a spin with this, and hopefully she might be improved. She might not be. We shall see. The only thing I've done as well, because she's a battle mage, I've also modified her equipment a bit as well. She's had this charm on for a while, but I want to delve into the Flame Overlord set here, which is giving HP and a few bit of status buffs. Need some sneakers. These sneakers are actually just solid, actually. 15 speed, 2 move distance. Her Irene's speed has kind of been sucking a bit, really, as a martial artist, so this has been nice for accompanying it. It's not a bad set of sneakers, really. And the Nagori reinforced uniform as well, which is, again, giving vigor and speed. So it's giving a lot of mobility. And I think she should be pretty solid. Again, her attack power is still heavily beating her ESP power, but it's not a big deal because they're both complementing each other equally now. So I think she'll still be pretty solid, but I'm going to have to change how I use her slightly. All in all, looking forward to it. Here's the magic armor. But there you go. Alright, next up is going to be Anne Macy. Oh, by the way, this tune, I noted in the previous video, is very Phoenix Wright-y. I absolutely adore this tune. I'm looking forward to hearing more of this. Should be a lot of fun. So Anne hasn't really changed too much. Now she's plus level 45. I've given her the big Mud Nagori Banger, which just makes sense for us, to give me extra health, extra vigor, which is all good for her. She doesn't need to be hitting particularly hard. A lot of the bangles you give her do that. Even this is giving her like extra damage and stuff, but just not that necessary. I think giving the set is going to be more useful for her. She'll be staying as a white mage, I'm pretty sure, for the rest of the game. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what I changed with her. I think I just gave her like charisma, but she's now rocking as well. Other than that, not a ton has changed. I consider giving Anne Egoist to give her tons of support stuff because, like, she is a white mage. There is a few decent stuff here. A lot of Earth SP stuff is on this list. Stuff like Soul Binding, Soul Guide, but I don't really need any of this. And like, although she has a lot of Earth Air SP, a lot of the abilities for Earth SP are like mainly combat focused, but she's not really. I'm still going to make her a witch, in which case I might do that, but I don't think Anne's changing from this for the rest of the game. She is just so well set. with recovery supports and penance and just all these sets here. She's just buffing everyone, healing everyone. I don't see any reason to take Anne away here. She is very occasionally vulnerable, just getting crit out of nowhere if I'm playing kind of sloppily and lazily, but it is what it is. The one thing I would be interested in getting her is Evangelization. It's a really cool ability. So if you heal and you fully restore the target, you can get them Atonement. Also, if you give buffs and stuff like that as well. Anne would gain +5 SP. She already gains SP pretty quickly, which is pretty nice. But it would give Vigor recovery for everyone else, which could be pretty useful, because a few characters are very Vigor heavy. Anne can obviously mitigate a lot of that, because the fact that she has her stuff. But if Anne does get taken away, or God forbid, defeated in combat, I have some serious Vigor problems and recovery issues. So that'd be a way of trying to help to get around that a little bit here. The other thing to note for Anne Macy is her SP. She's at 350. It's absurd. The reason for that is I've gotten her this. I put on Overcharge and Limit Break. She is now running Rapture. This is the new thing she's got here. So she gets excited when she gets Overcharged, which does take a while. But yeah, she has a huge Overcharge duration and an SP of 350, which takes a while to get there. But to be honest, I'm not too worried about Anne using her Overcharge a lot. Her healing ability just generally is pretty significant. Also bear in mind how her stuff works. She gets plus 0.25% block per SP. What this means is that at 350, she's getting like 87% block chance. At Overdrive, her block is going over 100%. She blocks everything. It's pretty insane. Combine that with the Celestial Shield stuff, and she's, I don't want to say unkillable, but pretty damn hardy, which is very, very impressive. So, you know, give this a bit of a spin, see how it goes. Don't need to worry about Vigor recovery. She's on constant Celestial stuff, so she's recovering her own Vigor, so you don't have anything to worry about for her. Haijing Ali has had some upgrades. He's hit level 45 plus. He's got some new weapons here. The Damana's MPIBEs. Very cool. These are giving extra bonuses to attacking machines. Obviously, the machine stuff, if I need to do that, I'll be on his Ranger class. But we are more interested in being a sweeper for the time being. So we'll go and put him back onto that. Oh, doing some off-screen stuff. I think I mentioned about that. But even so, although he doesn't have quite as much robot stuff here, it's not a problem. I also don't know how much we're going to be seeing robots. Obviously, we're seeing loads of them in regards to like the Spoonists. We're using them obviously very heavily. I don't know if we're going to see as many robots at the moment, but who knows? We'll see if the you know, the Eastern Alliance decide they want to start marching to Valhalla. I might change my opinions very, very quickly. Other than that, though, his mastery board, again, hasn't changed too much here. He's got regular exercise on, basically, now, which is giving him extra level HP and armor and stuff. Which is pretty good. He is kind of tanky himself. Again, well over 3,000 health, which is very impressive. His armor's on par with Elisa's, which is insane. His resistance is not quite as good. But it's still, Haijing is still very, very strong. He doesn't have his Overwatch stuff, but he does have lots of cool stuff, though. Just hits really hard. He has close to pressure fire, which I need to make more use out of. I've got to remember with Haijing, with this build, I've got to just send him in and just be kind of insane. That's what he prefers, what he's good at here, just getting in close and just going to war. But I have been kind of playing a little bit more defensive of him, so I'm just going to remember to change that. I might tweak stuff from him as well. Like, I might take off like one of these defenses. He's got lots of points you could use. But he's got tons of stuff here as you could use. So I don't see a real need to particularly change his setup here. There's a couple of interesting abilities he hasn't got here. Remop up would give him extra points back, which is pretty good. Recoil Control, which is basically if you keep shooting, action time reduction. His speed's okay. Ruthless Shot, which is giving him extra hit chance for every target he sees, which is really good for obviously taking on big, massive stacks of enemies, which some of his abilities definitely go into. But obviously, this is all being pretty heavily used here. Getting rid of Overwatch for Haijing feels kind of bad. I don't think I can quite justify doing that for Haijing, but we'll have to see. Sister Ray is still awesome. She's an alchemist. She's never not going to be an alchemist. Not really anything particularly to say that's changed here. She's running Ice Mist, which I think I put on in the last video or so. Can't quite recall. Anyways, not as much going on here particularly. Problem I've got with Ray is I don't really know how to improve particularly. She's running Peace, she's got nothing else to put on here. I'm trying to think what to put on her. She's got so close to it so far, just do even more damage. She's just really well set and put together. I am still very interested in this ability specifically, but I've got to find Cheating Death, which I don't know where that is. I don't know how to find that. Haven't got a clue. I'll let you know I do. But she's still awesome and will continue to be so. When she hits level 50, she will get an extra ability. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. We haven't gotten her potent potions, which would give her better healing, or skill support for vigor and reduced casting there. But I'll be honest, she doesn't really need either of these. So it's very possible I might end up swinging this into support and then giving us something else on the support list. That's defense. Bounding Shot would give Shikuchi, which wouldn't be bad for her. Or maybe I might give her something else. Delayed Throwing would give Dead Angle, so she's hitting more reliably. But she hits pretty reliably anyways. So I'll have a think about what I might end up putting onto her. There was a couple of Spirit SPs she could use. Maybe like, she already got Professional Book on. I don't know. I'll let you know, maybe. Maybe I might put on something like King's Wealth or something so that she's got more chance of acquiring items. Ray is really unique in that anything that gives her the chance to get items more is actually more of a direct buff to her. Everyone else is like, okay, you get more equipment, but of course it plays into her alchemist stuff. Being able to get change with equipment exchange and giving her buffs as she does it. And of course, that's why I'm running Passion for Gold, to make that even more effective. So anything that gives her more items is technically buffing her, and I might end up doing that. I might give her stuff like King's Well for material collectors, maybe Treasure Hunter or something, Treasure Island. I mean, maybe I might go into down some of this, but I have to see. I would like to put Veteran on her. That'd be useful, but again, haven't got a slot. So that might be what I do. Get that, put on Veteran when I can, work it from there, but we'll see. Alright, Giselle. Giselle is next. Not much going on with Giselle. She is pretty much set up as I would want her, really, since the main game, realistically. I don't really see anything else to particularly change her. Like, she will be getting her ability slot when she hits level 50, but that's not going to be for a while, because she's not going to be leveling up for a little while, which is going to be a thing. She's running Supporter in order to give experience, and I might as well, actually, thinking about it, I must just give her Learning, so that she gains slightly more experience, so that she can give it to people below her, specifically Bianca and Elisa as well. That'd be very good for her. So let's go and just whack that on there quickly. But yeah, she's crazy strong. Shadow sniping, with fire support. I mean, we saw how good she is in the second police training mission. She was just a monster, and it's really scary. What I'm going to do with this ability, I don't entirely know. Probably put on interchangeability to just give her more attack power, but she doesn't really need it. If she's hitting someone, more often than not, they're just dying. So again, I might put this into basic to give her something basic. She's had body training for a while, though it's not part of any mastery set. It's just to give her some extra health for when things go bad. Maybe there's an extra set I can get into for her. I don't really know. We'll have to see. But I mean, I've got all the sniper stuff. There isn't anything more to find, really. There's a couple other sets, which... I don't know what that is. But the problem is, anything this, I'd have to, like, change her current setup, and I just... She's so strong. I don't know how I could ever do that. So she's pretty good. Maybe at some point I might make some more tweaks, but for the time being, she's doing pretty well. The only thing I might consider doing is maybe... Oh, I've got Conscious Empire to climb both on. I'm trying to see if there's a way for me to get something else on defense, so she can make use of, like, something else, but I guess not. Not a big deal. Kylie Zoo has seen some changes, actually. Let's go into equipment here. She's not running the best of stuff. I do need to get her some better things on. She is plus 45. I have got some level 45 equipment. I should probably throw this on while I'm here. Especially because these are giving reductions, generally speaking, as you can see here. Why don't I put this on for you? She's in critical damage, it's fine. Extra vigor she doesn't hugely need, but she's got it. These are just better for her, though. Let's go give you that one. Why did I not put this on you? I have no earthly idea. At level 50, she'll start getting some really cool stuff, but she's not going to be there, obviously, for a little while. And we've got some level 45 stuff for her as well. Problem is, the one she's got is giving tons of health. I don't want to tank that too much. That looks fine. So just rock that on there. Sorry about that, completely forgot. So, there has been a slight change for Kylie in her masteries. And it goes specifically going into her, her abilities here. There's a new one I picked up for her for specific stuff, and it came from hacking. If you hack 3 times, you get a brand new ability for her called Reverse Engineering. This is part of a set I didn't have access to, Information Domination. So Reverse Engineering on its own is like, okay, gives you 20% better hacking and gives you 1 extra use, but Information Domination is exceptionally strong. This plays into Information Confusion, which is a buff you can give to everyone around you, which is giving plus 10% dodge chance. It changed the Information Confusion into... oh no, that's a different set. My apologies. No, Information Domination is this one here. Sorry, my bad. I'll get to that in a second. It buffs her Administrative Protocol Overdrive. So whenever we use it, normally gives us 3 turns of being able to use all protocols, or 3 actions of protocols. Although it does gradually, eventually... Yeah, you only have 3 turns to use it, otherwise you do lose the lot. It turns it into 5. It's pretty good. Just basically almost doubles the effectiveness of your overdrive. Pretty damn nice. Now, there is another set as well that I do want to get hold of Kylie as well. And that is this here. Restart Optimization Algorithm. So if she hacks something, she gets it gets a turn immediately. Divide and Conquer also gets a buff, but it needs something called Rebooting. Now, rebooting itself, I'm not entirely sure what it does, but I've got a guess. I think this is another ability for Kylie. I would have to go away to getting it. It says about resetting the usage number of protocol abilities. Now, obviously, we've got all of her classes, but some characters have hidden masteries, which you've got to fulfill a specific condition that's hidden in order to get access to it, like getting reverse engineering. I had to hack 3 things. I've got a feeling that Reboot is... I need to be in a position where Kylie has no protocols left. At all. Nothing. And I think that would give me Reboots. And I would like to get this. It looks pretty decent. Getting, improving my hacking again is good. And it has been released for Kylie. I don't know how much more she's going to need to hack, though. That's the only issue here. Hacking makes her better, and it makes her overdrive better, but it isn't helping our drones too much, and they are struggling a little bit. So, if we kind of go through a bit of this and find that we're just not coming against robots anymore, I might take her back towards being an engineer specifically, but I would like to get a Reboot. The thing is, Reboot, I would have to almost certainly... do that off screen, just do a random mission and deliberately go with like no abilities for her, use up all of her stuff, and I imagine that will get me that, but that's a problem for me to sort out. Other than that, not much has changed. She's still looking pretty damn good. It's nice to be starting using her Administrative Protocol. It's very strong. And lastly, that brings us to Let Ali. So as mentioned, he is now back to being a martial artist, which is kind of better for him. I think he plays more into his general strengths. Although Superstar is not bad, I think this is just simply better for him. One of his personal abilities requires him specifically being a martial artist because it requires internal power, which is very important. Side control training is a very strong ability as well. He hasn't got the most sets here, but there's a few things we're looking to pick up here. That's the better fluid. So he uses it more, but it does things like recovering his health and stuff. But I need something called Enough Rest, which is I've seen a couple of times in mastery sets. I don't know what it is, but I do know someone who had it. And that was Shandian, the assassin from the 9 Dragons. I seem to recall that he had Enough Rest. Now, am I worried enough to go back and just, like, redo that one mission with Kylie and Hyjin and just keep beating him until I get that mastery? No. But Enough Rest, I get the impression it's a pretty good ability, because he's the only person I've seen it on, and he was, like, legendary. So, it's clearly a pretty solid thing. In fact, actually, you can actually see it. Let me do one thing quickly. So, just other things going to be mentioned. So he's got Iron Wall, which is pretty good. So he can... Iron Wall we've seen before on the Defenders from the Police. Very good ability. Skill bodies, good for him. He has also got as well move body to a rhythm as well, which is pretty nice. It's giving him extra buffs. Really, really good for 2 costs, by the way. Very, very strong. Lots of good stuff here. And other than that, though, like, yeah, just lots of good stuff, basically. Body and mind training is an amazing ability. Not having us on Irene is very sad, but it's very, very strong. A bit of ice, lots of bits and pieces as well, so it's very, very good. You know, and we'll tweak it on. Just, I would like to get this set, and also this set as well. This requires frost armor. I don't have any idea how you get hold of that. Is that another thing I've got to find a specific thing for Letton? Is it something he's going to pick up over the course of DLC? I have absolutely no idea. We shall see. But yeah, if we come over here very quickly. Don't worry, folks, we're nearly done. Need your patience. So if we go to the Troublemaker list and go towards later on here. This is also expanded as well. It should be noted it's now 8 pages. It used to be 7. Definitely been some tweaking of this. And eventually we'll find Shandian. Oh, one thing as well that was funky about this. The Firecron didn't actually count as being defeated. We didn't get any the Troublemaker stuff for defeating the Firecron in the last violent case because we hacked it. We never technically defeated it, so I had to actually redo that just to get it on the list, which is funky. Where is Shandian? There he is. So Shandian, yeah. Where is it? Somewhere. Enough rest. There we are. It's a defense ability. Whenever you recover HP, regain 10 vigor, and AT reduces by 10. That's really strong. That is very, very good. No wonder he's the only person I've seen it. It's nuts. But we're never going to see him again, so by the looks of it, not that I'm aware of, so, you know, I could just do this loads, I could just do that loads. This would give me, like, Twinkle Jack stuff as well, but I'm not worried enough about it. I think we're in a pretty good state. I think our characters are probably slightly too strong anyways, so I'm not overly concerned. So that is basically everything for this video, really. I can't really too much else that I need to report on. One thing I'm going to have to try to do is not play this game. I do intend to let the main series catch up a bit, which means I'm going to have to like not play this for like 2, maybe 3 weeks, which is a very difficult thing to try to muster. What I did do was doing a few off-screen missions is I made Bianca very temporarily. I put her back to being an elementalist, just so I don't have to worry about leveling these up off-screen. So I don't like doing that specifically, just to blunt all leveling, basically. So that is something I'm going to be doing. The only thing I will also mention is, so the next main quest is obviously the offer in the office from Scion. But before we do that, I might do that first, I'm unsure. The other things we're going to do, I'll see what I feel like whenever I next get back to play this game. The other thing we have still got some other outstanding business from the main game. Specifically, we've got a couple of violent cases to delve into. The abandoned cave down here, which looks pretty funky, and Magenta Street back at the marketplace, which, you know, are things that we will need to delve in at some point. And obviously, both have enemies that are completely new to us, as does the highway garage here, apparently, which is news to me, but that is what it is. So I think we will do Scion's mission, the request first. And whenever we're next got up to going, alright, it's time for your next mission on this, then we'll hit the Iron Forest and probably Magenta Street back to back. Which will give the opportunity for Bianca especially, as well as Elisa, to level up a little bit and catch up on the rest of the team. Because, like, you know, Bianca is like 10 levels behind Giselle, which is kind of insane, really. I will be running, for the time being, for the game. We will be staying on limits to growth, because some of our characters have gotten probably a bit too strong. And we'll need some catching up. So this means that, like, the weaker characters, again, Bianca, Elisa, can level up. Everyone else will be stable. Now, you could say, well, Sherry, shouldn't you probably at least get Giselle to 50 first and then do it? And you know what? I might do that. I might let her get to 50 and then blunt her off. It gives me a chance to get a new weapon. But these rifles we're getting for Jeff, like we picked up here, is really good. So, I'll have to think about it. Oh, one other thing I need to make a mention of before we do end the video. One last thing. I'm guessing there's something that I can't do yet, but I'll be introduced to soon. Obviously, the workbench, we've got iron crafting, and as mentioned, there is a new They're two-handed swords. This is all the Lisa stuff here. There's some good stuff already here. We got the Berserker Greatsword at 50, which delves into Berserker stuff here, which I might well delve into. A sword mainly used by barbarian warriors in Templar during the World War. It was mainly used to break down enemy line and break through them. It gives auto pushback for melee attacks, which is pretty sweet. Very, very expensive, by the way. Ugh, very pricey. And it might well be that when she put it down into the Berserker stuff, I might start delving into this, but we're a little bit away from that, so I'm not too worried for the time being. There's one thing I noticed on Bianca's abilities here. Bianca, by the way, doesn't have any good sort of profile. Doesn't have any lines or anything like that, which I guess makes sense. But one thing she does have is her own special ability, professional skill, transmogrifying. She can change the appearance of weapons, apparently. I don't know how you do that. I'm guessing this is something that I'll get the opportunity to do later on, but it would be kind of nice. You know, I do miss, like, the looks of some of people's original-looking weapons, especially, like, say, Giselle's had the rifle, the Wallenstein that was handed down from it. Like, this rifle looks freaking awesome, and I absolutely adore the look of it. You know, obviously fits everything with her loads. There we go. I think that's really cool. But obviously, I can't use it really because it's like way weaker than anything she's got here. And it's the same as well for Bianca as well. Specifically, Bianca's double sword, like, you know, it's part of her portrait. So having anything that doesn't like that, it's just gonna be kind of weird to me. But obviously, if I do go with other blades like the great sword here, might not be the best look at it. But you can see here, like, it's completely different. But actually, there might be a way for me to do it. If I go quickly... Something you can do in the game, by the way. If you go to company, go to leader, you can choose who your actual character is in this shooter area. Yeah, so here's this blade here. And, it's cool, don't get me wrong. But it's just not the same, kids. And it's just not part of the portrait. And it's, like, part of her identity, you know? So if there's a way for me to, like, make new weapons, but make them look like her original, unique weapon... I'd be very interested in it. I think it'd be a lot of fun, so... I mean, yeah, just, look at that. Puts the Buster Sword to shame, kids. Puts the Buster Sword to shame. So, yeah, that is going to be it for this one. So, I thank you for listening. I'm going to have to somehow not play this game for a while, which is going to prove to be very, very difficult. There's no requests in here, by the way, and I don't think there's going to be. I suspect that we have done all the requests in the game for everyone, and we're just barreling on through bits and pieces. But who knows? We'll have to see. But yeah, so next time, we will go and take San's request. We'll go on a journey, and we'll work that out from there. There's a lot of things I'm very much looking forward to this DLC. You know, obviously the music, I've samples of it, looks really good. Obviously, having these from my parties will be a lot of fun. These clowns and, like, this whole Hanson and Samson and whatever the guy's name was, it just looks really awesome. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. Obviously, chasing the paintings and people be trying to get Bianca back to her hometown. And again, the various unresolved plot lines as well with, like, the Bloodwalkers and Carter, I'm sure, and Albus. There's so much to delve into. Somehow... and we have to manage not to want to look at any of this for the next few weeks. It's going to be difficult. Anyways, thank you much for watching, everyone. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. We'll be seeing you very, very soon. Ta-ta for now.